So personally for me, I dated all races and I love all races, don't get me wrong. But relationship-wise, after all these experiences, it turned out that I just connect better with the Asian women.
These racial fetishes are literally categories on porn sites.
I mean, for one, the one especially that's always affected me is the way Asian women tend to get portrayed. We're eager to please, we're submissive, we're sexually deviant.
Those things are characteristics that disgusting men find appealing in women. And those are definitely things that people have listed as reasons why they would want an Asian girlfriend or an Asian wife. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen my whole life.
I always have to wonder how people are perceiving me, if they're seeing me as the docile China doll or if they're actually seeing me, as my personality.
So I am just paranoid all the time, I guess. I'm always thinking about how people are perceiving my Asianness and thinking about the negative, even the positive, but most especially the negative stereotypes that are associated with Asianness. And I'm always assuming that people are thinking these things. It's conditioned self-defensive thinking. And I'm constantly thinking about the ways people are perceiving my femaleness and assuming things about the limits on my capabilities.
The media does portray, like, especially Asian women, to be like that exotic kind of, like sexy, mysterious creature.
The Mulan look, which basically means like just like the slanted eyes, the button nose, and the small lips, like the features that like white people and white men particularly love about Asian women.
Given that I am not white, I'm not a man, I'm not straight, I would say, I would use the past tense and say it made me hate myself.
Oftentimes Asian women are only seen as heterosexual and our gender identity is very like static. It's just like feminine and female.
Like, I can't really relate to any of the Asian American actresses who've made it big. Like Lucy Liu, I can't identify with her.
Asia is huge and diverse and holds many ethnic groups that do not look like Lucy Liu at all.
People tend to generalize me as a specific Asian, so like Chinese, like Japanese, or Korean, like the big three. And people don't tend to realize that there's more Asian cultures than that.
People have this very narrow concept of Asian Americans as only being from the Far East. And a lot of South Asians, I am South Asian, are just absolutely ignored in the media.
I saw mostly East Asian women in shows like Power Rangers and like movies. If there was an Asian role, it was always going to be an East Asian person representing Asians.
It's hard to identify with Asian Americans because they're always portrayed as light-skinned.
Sure, there are more women of color in the mix, but are they popular in the mainstream because their features contain one or some attributes such as lighter skin, colored eyes, etc.?
I do not look East Asian. I have dark skin. My eyes are big. Well, those are just observations that other people tell me because I don't look Asian to them, because what they see in TV and media is mostly East Asian.
Even amongst Asian females, I thought lighter skinned young girls were favored over darker ones, I being in the latter. I related more towards women of darker toned skin, whether they were Asian or not.
I think it's extremely important to acknowledge the root of all of these issues, and they didn't come because our communities are backward and warped. These issues came about because of colonialism and imperialism and capitalism. And we can't make these issues go away until we address the root of the problem, which is, capitalism. It enforces this sort of conversation in all of us through media portrayals.
And it becomes like an expectation of you to be light-skinned if you are Asian also.
So people who identify as Southeast Asian in American society, we don't have representation. Our stories, like this type of story, we don't really, talk about it.
The little exposure I did get to Vietnamese people in popular media was usually within the context of the Vietnamese War. So yeah, that kind of sent a message to me at a young age that my identity was really connected with trauma, because a lot of those movies were just like horrifyingly sad.
If you want to focus on the country of China, how there are tons of ethnic groups in China, like a lot, a lot of ethnic groups, and the fact that every time a Chinese American is portrayed on film, or if the film is set in China, the fact that you only see Han Chinese on screen is definitely an indicator of how Hollywood just likes to take all these cultures and mash them into one, just to make them into bite-sized little pieces for for the consumption of the American audiences.
We are objects of cultural capital for other people who are not Asian.
When I use Korean, I'm seen as a foreigner. I had to stop using Korean. I couldn't use Korean outside of my house because people would look at me, or people would think that I wasn't born here, or that I wasn't American.
I had a lot of immigrant friends in high schools taking, ESL classes and things like that, and I would always speak Mandarin with them, or I would also speak Mandarin with my other Taiwanese American or Chinese American friends, and every time people would yell at us, "This is America, speak English."
I would hate it when my parents would talk to me in Korean when I was outside growing up. I would tell them, talk to me in English, or I would respond to them in English. And I would do it really loudly. I would whisper Korean, and then I would say whatever English thing I had to say as loud as I could, just so that people around me knew that I could speak English and I could speak it fluently.
I was made to feel like shit for speaking my language, and for practicing my language, and for saying whatever it is I said with my friends in the privacy of our conversations. And here you are learning phrases and trying to use it as a way to pick me up, or as a way to look cooler and seem cultured and worldly. Please fuck off with that shit.
Being that kid who has to kind of be an adult to translate for your immigrant parents who can't speak English well or have an accent, and you grow up being embarrassed of them. And, and they feel ashamed of the fact that they can speak Korean. And I feel ashamed that I can speak Korean. And then these people who have no understanding of what being Korean is, or the struggles we had, just kind of taking little bits and pieces of my culture or my language that they feel is really convenient to them, and go, oh, hey, oppa, urchan.
They take these things and completely take them out of context and make them meaningless.
You don't get to use my culture as a way to make yourself look cooler when you and yours have spent my whole life and your whole life making me and other people like me feel like shit for participating in my culture in a normal way. When I do it, it's gross, but when you do it, it's cool, and you are cooler for it.
Using selka? Selka is a Korean word. I think it comes to like cell phone camera. I think, it basically is equivalent of selfie. But they use it. You have the word selfie. Why do you need to use selka? It doesn't help you learn Korean. All you're doing is accessorizing it. It's it's cuter. Kind of analyze it, deconstruct that. Why is it cuter? Is it cuter because it's not English, because it's Korean? Or Korean somehow just
more cuter. I wish I knew that, so like I wouldn't have so many self-esteem issues growing up.
I mean, I'm just thinking about my mom and all of my older relatives that were forced to assimilate and are continually forced to keep assimilating for the sake of simply survival. And it seems completely unfair that these things that they were forced to leave behind to survive are being picked up at a whim by some fucking kids, ignorant kids, that get to wear that shit without persecution.
Obviously, I would like to see more non-binary Asians. I want to see like gender queer Asians or gender non-conforming Asians.
I think it's very important to continue to have Asian women that fit the stereotype in TV shows and in movies, because Asian women like that actually do exist, and I think that their existences deserve to be validated just as much as any other Asian woman, because it's not their fault necessarily that the stereotypes exist, and I don't think they should be persecuted for accidentally fitting into a stereotype. But along with that, there needs to be just an endless diversity.
We have all different types of people. We have quiet people. We have loud ass people. I am a loud ass person. I would like to see more people like me. I would like to see more people like my friends. I would like to see big Asian women, not just small, tiny, petite, waifish Asian women.
I want to see Asian women with broad shoulders, with like muscles and stuff like that.
I would like to see more trans Asian women. I would like to see more disabled Asian women.
More realistic types of Asian Americans. So not only the woman side of it, but also the male side and maybe the family side of it.
I would love to see some more dark-skinned Asian women.
I would like to see Asian women who are queer. I mean, hello, we exist.
I don't only want dragon women. I don't only want uber competitive, cutthroat Asian women who just want to bring you down so we can get to the top. I want to see Asian women who are super into sex, but in a way that white women get celebrated for, and not in a way that has to do with us being sexually deviant.
I would like to see more asexual Asian women. I would like to see more poor Asian women. I would like to see more Asian women with girth.
I just want to see more people who look and feel and act more like what I know to be the truth, what I know to be reality.
For me, it was difficult, not necessarily because I was Asian, but because of my inability to see that beauty when I look at myself in the mirror. That beauty, so I thought at the time, was modeled by girls with fair skin and colored eyes. Those features that grace the covers of magazines or on the silver screen.
It took a long time for me to learn to love myself. And like I didn't even know there was anything wrong with what I was doing, but my parents were trying to tell me the whole time that I'm fine the way I am, and you should listen to people who tell you that you're fine the way you are.
Like, be yourself. It's like really corny, but be yourself, and don't let anybody make you feel like you are Asian enough or you're not Asian enough. Yeah, just be yourself.
Have tried, you are ripped up, but nothing